Alright, it has been a minute since I've posted on YouTube, and I feel like I need to put some sort of video out, um, just because I feel like it. So today, based on the title, we're going to go over my keybinds really quickly. Not going to take a ton of time, but I don't run default keybinds, and I feel like my keybinds are a lot better compared to the default keybinds, and I'm going to quickly go over why. Let's get started. WSAD. All this is default up until jump vault. I separate these keybinds. F12, you might think, why the heck, Nick? No, F12 I have bound to one of my side mouse buttons. So no, I don't actually press F12 to vault. I just use my side mouse button to vault. I don't like jump vault because you can't crouch jump through windows, and I really like crouch jumping through windows. I feel like it's a lot safer sometimes, so that's why I do that. Prone is Z. That's default. Nothing fancy there. Interact default. Toggle perspective I change. Doesn't really matter. This isn't important. Auto run. Not super important, but I use tilde. It's just one button left of one. I use it, if you want to drop ammo for teammates or something. Um, it's handy. You just push it and then you can drop ammo or whatever while you're running. Free look. That's default. Fire is default. Aim ADS, I don't use that. That's default. I unbind that and I separate aim and ADS. Um, ADS, I use to hold on the right mouse button. I don't toggle, I hold ADS. And aim is on one of my side mouse buttons. It's on my back side mouse button, actually. Um, it's not super important. I actually never even ran aim for the longest of time. I just ran fire and ADS. I forgot to mention, let's jump back up here. Crouch is on my front mouse button, side mouse button. So vault and crouch definitely are my priorities for side mouse buttons. Um, if you don't have three side mouse buttons like I do, I have this SteelSeries mouse and it has three. So I just bound aim. But if you don't have three, definitely prioritize crouch and vault only. Aim is not a super huge deal, but it is helpful if you have three mouse buttons. So default, don't even bind next weapon and previous weapon to your mouse wheel. It's inaccurate and it's inconsistent for me. Default, peek left and peek right. I unbound from Q and E. I actually use C and V because I like to prioritize my movement keys, WASD. I never, if possible, never ever want to take my fingers off WASD, and I felt like I lost a lot of firefights because of that, using, your middle finger to press Q. When you use your middle finger to press Q, you're no longer on W, and I know there's ways around this, but my fingers don't work like that. So I've trained my fingers to use C and V. I feel like this is much more consistent for peeking and leaning and stuff. It's not like super as fast because your thumb has to actually, switch between the two, but you don't need to peek like crazy fast like that. It's pointless. So I found that this works very well for me, and I've been getting a lot more kills, a lot more wins, and winning a lot more gunfights using the peek left and peek right different keybinds. So highly suggest that. Holster weapon default. Equip frags I use on G, and smokes I use on H. Radio message wheel, that's new, very helpful. That's middle mouse button. Default. This is Shift Alt and scroll wheel up, Shift Alt scroll wheel down. It's kind of helpful, if you've got like an 8x on your weapon and you want to 0 to 600 meters real fast or back to 100. It's pretty handy. Be quiet, you're ruining my audio. If it's already ruined anyways, this mic sucks, but it's fine. This is default, this is default. These two keybinds, I just switched around, that way I could instantly whip out a grenade and cook it, I just prefer that. You don't have to, it's just what I prefer. Since we unbound Q and E for our peeking keybinds, we now can use them for heal items and boost items. You don't need to move whenever you're healing, so I can actually give up some priorities there as far as my movement keys. I always said I wanted my fingers on WASD, and that's the case, but if you're healing, you can't move, so I just use Q and E for my heal and boost items now. Vehicle keybinds, all default. Motorcycle leans, I have changed. Lean back is my back mouse button. Lean forward is my front mouse button. Lean right are my leaning keys. This is all default except for seat 3 I have on C as a secondary, and seat 4 I have on my right lean, which is V for a secondary keybind as well. Swimming, this is all default except for dive. I just put on my side mouse button. All this is basically the same. It's default, and then none of the rest matters. So those are my keybinds, and that's quickly just a quick summary overview of my keybinds, why I think they're better. I actually kind of highly suggest you check out these keybinds. They're a lot better in my opinion, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So hope you enjoyed, and let me know what you think. See ya.